Welcome, Cosmic Souls. I'm Joy, an energy intuitive and collective empath, and I'm here to deliver this timeless reading of the divine energies. Basically, I receive messages from Spirit to pick you up and dust you off and get you moving forward again. So remember, if this message doesn't resonate with you or your situation, leave it for those it is meant for, right? So let's begin. Today, well, tapping in with Source, saying what's going on. Just this overwhelming, well, there's been a lot of energies coming in solar wise, but it's just this huge emotional wave of anticipation. It's like we're all anticipating something coming in, either excitedly or with fear, but we're collectively anticipating something's coming, right? So how we choose to interpret that feeling, certainly if you watch a lot of YouTube or get on X or whatever a lot, there'll be lots of doom scrolling and lots of, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. It's everything from, economic collapses to solar energies coming in, return of Christ, I don't know, everything under the sun, depending on which side of the fence you're going on, right? And I think if you kind of lean away from the fearful versions, because there's nothing you can do about major things, right? So why be afraid of them? And of course the alien or extraterrestrial disclosure that is going to be supposedly coming here in the next year or so. So I don't know, lots of things to anticipate. Let's see how the cards think about that. Are these things going to be good for the collective? I tend to feel that they will be. Let's see what the cards say. Grateful for life. Be thankful for your gifts. Yeah. So leaning into gratitude is always helpful. Pursue your dream. Have faith in your intuition. I think everybody, these are little fairies here too. Everybody is starting to feel like they've had enough of the current systems, the current jobs, the current whatever, education system, government systems, all systems. We're done with those. We're moving into our feeling into our intuitions and following our dreams, whether it's gardening in your local community or creating support networks or helping people with anxiety and depression with all these changes going on. I mean, there's a million different ways that you can lean into this stuff. Be generous, yes. Grateful and generous. So rather than being fearful, give and make room to receive. So generosity is giving and receiving that generosity from those around us and the collective. I'm not talking about the systems necessarily, but remembering that, even if you have no money, you can give time, you can give energy, you can give support, a hug, whatever. And that's really where it's at, building our networks and our communities, right? And it's not leaning into fear and trying to get ready. But it's more of a building and getting ready and being more resilient rather than just being fearful and like the elites and crawling off in a hole somewhere. Yeah, that's their problem. They live in fear of us. So I guess we're a heck of a lot more powerful than we think, huh? Just imagine if everyone in a country just didn't go to work that day. just everyone, all with the exception of, you know, nurses and doctors maybe, but everybody else. No garbage collection, no teachers, no grocery checkout people, right? Just everybody stays home and everybody is willing to lose their jobs to make these changes. And I think if everyone did something like this, we would show them the kind of power we have. We would see our power and we would come together and help each other. I mean, a lot of people would need food and whatnot, but we just shut it down. We don't support them in their networks. They can have their robot supports, and if they're not ready, too bad. Right? Tell them, no, I don't want digital ID. No, I don't want to take your gene editing protocols. I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. And stand up for your principles and don't, no matter what they say and what matter what they threaten or do to some people, you don't let them do it. You don't let them run the show, right? You say no. You stand up and you say no. And it's, there's an old saying, it's better to die on your feet than on your knees, right? I'm not saying we're dying, but everybody will at some point. But it's important to find that inner core of resilience and say, no, I'm not your slave. I'm not your subject. I'm not your person to control. I control myself. I'm a sovereign being of source, and you have virtually no control over me, right? Love unites. Surrender to the attraction. This looks like an ear, which makes me think of listening to source. I mean, this is also, it's twofold. People uniting through generosity and their intuition, listening to source and giving to one another, and creating those communities that just, they're going to be busy with their 15-minute cities and their other ways of trying to control and manipulate and manage everyone. And we just turn our backs and say no and just walk away and just leave them to it. They can just manage each other, right? Love unites, and it's love of each other, the collective, and love of source, and really lean into listening to your intuition. It comes from source. Nothing is perfect. Release perfection and strive for excellence. So just do the best you can do on what you can. It's not going to be perfect, but nothing is. Look at nature, and yet it's perfect, but individually, different things may not be perfect. But overall, when you step back, you see that everything is perfect. Yes. Excuse me. Attend to your spiritual needs. Create a more prosperous life. I like that. That's a nice card. I haven't seen that one come up in a long time. Let's see if I can get this remotely straight. Probably not, but we'll see. So, attending to your spiritual needs, remembering that you are an eternal being, right? Spark of source, divine energy, and you live forever. That energy never goes away. So what's more important, this temporary physical incarnation or your eternal soul, right? Tend to those spiritual needs. That's number one above everything. You can go a month without food if you had to, or at least a couple of weeks. Most people probably should to detox and drop all the weight, especially Americans. And yes, I was an American, and I've been in Canada for almost 20 years. So yes, I've seen both of those, and yeah, it's going like from the frying pan into the fire. But yeah, I do see both sides of how things work. And yeah, get healthy now, attend to your spiritual needs. Your vessel needs to be, remotely healthy to be able to move your, I'm getting all throaty today, to be able to move your energy around in this physical dimension. You need a vessel that can do it, right? So try to be the best that you can at whatever age or abilities you have. I mean, work with it. Nothing's going to be perfect, but it's going to be the best you can possibly be, and go there. You know, really, really look into that and do the best you can, because it will get you there. But don't listen to the doctors and the people on there telling you what to do and how to do it, and the standard American diet that'll kill you faster than anything. At least they've flipped the pyramid upside down as far as what you're supposed to be eating. I mean, get off the grains, for heaven's sakes. They're full of glyphosates and other bad chemicals and everything else nowadays that, the elites think they can just let the masses eat slop or uh, these other weird things they want us to eat, bugs mainly. Yeah, I know a lot of people eat bugs in the world, but I'm not keen on that, quite frankly. Smoke and mirrors, that's exactly what's going on right now, isn't it? I think a lot of it's just smoke and mirrors. I think a lot of this building of the panopticon around us that the elites and most governments seem to be leaning into to control the herd, the flock, with their flock cameras. Um, I think they're overestimating what they can do with that, and I think they're underestimating the fact that a lot of people are not going to just meekly fall in line and do it, right? Beyond the ordinary, that these are supporting energies for, like, beyond the ordinary with your intuition. Just follow whatever you're remotely interested in, right? Whether it's conspiracy theories, gardening, geology, ah, uh, growing flowers, it doesn't matter. Making jewelry, just be your individual, completely unique self, because that's what we all are. We're all completely different and unique, and we matter. Take the higher view, right? Step back from your own individual problems and worries and concerns and situations, and they're just challenges. Go through them as best you can, right? Sometimes you get knocked down, you get back up and start over, but you just keep moving through. And a higher view, you can look at it more than just your own situation. It's the situation of the collective, right? The whole planet. What are we moving into? Where do we want to go? What kind of world do we want to have? Do we want to let these elite types continue to run the world and their pizza and everything else parties? Or do we want to create the world that we want to live in? And, they can go away somewhere else. But we need to do what's best for the collective. And I'm not talking about communism or anything like that. That's not for the collective. I mean, that's totally for the collective with no value placed on the individual. You have to value the individual and the collective equally. But if it ever comes down to, for the greater good, you're on the wrong path, because anytime you can make an individual expendable, it's wrong. And you got to remember that a lot of these collectivist kind of systems that they want to bring in for the greater good always ends up with a lot of people being taken out permanently, right? And we don't want that. We value the individual. We value the uniqueness of each individual. We don't want to be, say, well, it's not fair, so we're going to make all these other people have to have to deal with way more to make it fair. And it's not going to be necessarily fair, but you can give everyone a roof over their head, food, interesting things to do, following their intuition, right? Collectively coming together and supporting each other, but valuing the individual no matter what. Let's see. Time machine. Yes, this feels like this looping situation we kind of feel like we're in right now, where everything's kind of repeating. Kind of feels like the 70s again, actually, in a lot of ways to me. Yes, I was a little kid in the 70s. Um, but yes, trying to go back and change things isn't really uh, possible. But what we're doing with time right now is creating a new path forward. That's the whole 5D collective consciousness, change that's going on. And that's why the powers that be are fighting it so bad, because there isn't a place for those kind of people in it. The controllers, the manipulators, the baddies, right? There's no room for them in this. Oh, nice. I haven't seen this one for a long time. Storyteller. So what kind of story do we want to tell? Do we want to say, oh, the robots took over and everything went bad? Or we want to say, well, they tried to do all that, but we turned away and we started our own things. And what kind of story are we going to leave for the future generations, right? We don't want to turn into a Black Mirror episode, or many of those, right? Which is where they want to take everybody. Right? Broken open. Exactly. This goes along with the attending to your spiritual needs, doesn't it? So we're breaking open our hearts and our crown chakras and expanding into this new collective consciousness, this new human that's coming through, that, war isn't a thing. Poverty isn't a thing for the new human. It's, everybody shares everything, but everybody is valued individually. It's not a collectivist sort of thing. The group is never put above the individual as far as that goes. Right? Everybody has a right. Everybody is a divine spark, and they should be looked at that as God. That everybody is God, and collectively, that's where we're raising our consciousness to, is the collective conscious, the Christ consciousness. I'm having a lot of trouble talking today. We'll see. So anyway, to me, this one looks like, yeah, it's what story are we going to leave for the future generations? And are we going to have to say, well, we just went along with it, and that's why we're all in this horrible state in 50 years? Or no, we said no, we broke open, we showed our hearts, everybody came together with love and attention, and we turned our backs on the controllers, the ones that wanted to take us into their new ultra controlled world, and we just refused. We just became living embodiment of source here in 3D, and that was good. Let's see what the trees have to say. Acacia tree. Well, not only is there the biblical connotations, but it's also helps. They help with to be more grounded and in the moment. So what that's telling me is to get out of the future worry. Every day it's, oh, they're doing this, oh, they're doing that, oh, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. I swear, these AI people, you just want to tell them to shut up sometimes, right? But yeah, focus more in the moment, which helps us to stay in our hearts and out of fear and anxiety, which is just fear of something unknown happening. And just remember, we are capable. We are divine sparks, completely capable of dealing with anything that should come our way, no matter what. And when we pass out of this life, we go on into wherever our energy takes us. I mean, we're eternal sparks, you know, we can go anywhere, do anything as far as that goes. But while we're here to change things for the positive. Even if they're saying resistance is futile, we're taking you this way. No, they're not. They're not taking us that way. We're not going into their panopticons or 15-minute cities. We refuse, right? We're focusing on our spiritual needs and not material gain or anything like that. So what's more important, having a fancy condo or having a little shack on a piece of land and being a part of your community and sharing food and stories and music? And I mean, that sounds a lot happier than being up in some ivory tower or some little cell in a giant building with 2 feet of room in each one. um, Pick any Black Mirror episode. I haven't watched that many of them, but the ones I have, it's like, yep, that's where they're trying to take us. um, and try to remember that you can be grounded, you can be connected to Gaia, and you can release this anxieties into her, and she can help heal you, you know, especially if you go barefoot, for grounding. And you will find your way through this. But yeah, try to turn down the noise and the fear mongering and everything, you know. Look at it less and less. um, it's okay to know what they're doing, but I think we all know what they're doing at this point. It's just a question of when they're going to try to roll it out. But um, you know, just remember, we can stand up, we can turn away. And you know, it's really hard for an emperor to control you when you see they got no clothes on, right? You just turn away, you laugh, and you forget about them. And that's, I think, where these elite are going, is into the dustbin of history. And this new earth is going to be about the individual and the diversified, you know, distributed communities. It's not going to be big governments. It's not going to be control systems. It's going to be about spiritual needs and sharing and helping each other through this from a higher view, a higher perspective. And the only we've got an immense possibilities of where we can take this, and it's all just, where does your intuition say it wants to go, right? Follow that. Be generous and be grateful for what you do have, rather than trying to compare yourself to the rich. You know, money doesn't matter, does it? Right? Not in the big scheme of things. You know, shelter, food, beyond that, it doesn't matter how fancy it is. What matters is opening your heart and connecting with Source. And that's by attending to your physical and spiritual needs. Physical, as in getting healthier so that you can actually hear Source speaking to you. And if you do all that, you know, get out of the other stuff and just focus on, you know, internally, your body, your energies, and opening up, releasing regrets and fears and anger and blame, and moving on. You're here, you survived whatever happened, let it go. You're not a victim. You are a divine spark and you have the power. You just need to remember that you have it, and that's what you are. And that's a lot of what Yeshua was talking about, wasn't he? So get out there, have a nice day.